There is a smell that shuts a mosquito's nervous system down the instant it drifts past her. Not slows her down, not annoys her, shuts the whole guidance system off. And it comes from catnip. Yes, the same plant your cat rolls around in and loses its mind over. It has been sitting on the shelf at every garden center and every Walmart in America for the last 30 years, for about $2. Your neighbor with the quiet, mosquito-free backyard, the one who sits out on summer evenings while you're slapping at your arms, there's a fair chance he already knows what it is. By the end of this, you will too, and you'll understand exactly how to use it. But first, you need to understand why the mosquito spray industry, which pulls in more than $11 billion a year in this country, has a very specific reason to make sure you never connect that $2 plant to the bites on your skin. Stick with me, because the way a mosquito actually hunts you is the whole key, and almost nobody gets it right. Let's start with the thing most people get wrong. People picture a mosquito drifting around the yard at random until it bumps into a person and bites. That is not what happens. A female mosquito, and it is only the females that bite, carries one of the most sophisticated chemical detection systems in the entire insect world. She is not wandering, she is hunting, and she is locked onto you from a long way off. The first thing she follows is the carbon dioxide in your breath. Every time you exhale, you send up a plume of it, and she can pick up that trail from as far as 100 feet away. To her, your breathing is a flare going up over the yard. Once she's on the carbon dioxide trail, she switches to her second set of sensors, and those read the lactic acid and the other compounds coming off your skin, the octanol in your sweat, the warmth of your body, even the moisture around you. She layers all of that together until she has you pinned exactly. This is why the person who always gets bitten really does. Slightly different skin chemistry, a little more carbon dioxide, and she finds them first every time. It was never bad luck, it was chemistry. And a few things tip the odds, which is why two people in the same yard get treated completely differently. She's pulled harder toward body heat, so the person who runs warm, or who just came in from mowing the lawn, lights up like a beacon. She favors darker clothing, which holds heat and stands out against the evening sky to her eyes. Researchers have even found she's drawn more to people who've just had a beer and to expectant mothers who breathe out more carbon dioxide and run a little warmer. None of that is your fault, but every bit of it is something you can turn to your advantage once you know it. Now hold that picture in your mind, because once you understand that a mosquito hunts by reading chemical signals, you can see precisely why every product you have ever bought has failed you. Take the citronella candle. It works by putting a little scented smoke into the air to mask your signals. The problem is the range. That candle covers maybe 3 feet of still air, and only if there's no breeze at all. Sit 4 feet away or let a light wind come through, and it is doing essentially nothing. You paid for the feeling of protection, not the protection. Take the bug zapper, the one that crackles all evening and makes you feel like it's working. Researchers at the University of Delaware went through what those zappers actually kill, and mosquitoes made up less than 6 in every 100. The rest were moths, beetles, and harmless night insects, including the very ones that eat mosquitoes. You are running a machine that electrocutes the wrong bugs all summer and leaves the hunters untouched. Take the permethrin yard spray, the one the lawn treatment company comes out to apply. It does kill adult mosquitoes, and for about 5 days it works. Then the rain comes and washes it off the leaves and the grass, so they come back and spray again, and the rain comes again, and around it goes. And by the end of the season, you've handed them close to $400, and you're still getting eaten alive on your own back porch in August. And the whole time, that spray is coating every plant in your yard, including the ones your children play beside and your dog walks through. And then there's the spray can itself, The one with DEET in it, $12 a can. DEET does work, I'll be honest about that. There's also picaridin, the CDC-recommended DEET alternative that's been gaining ground, and oil of lemon eucalyptus, sometimes called PMD, which is actually EPA-registered as a plant-based repellent. Those work too, to a degree. But here is the part that should bother you about all of them. A $2 plant compound was tested head-to-head against DEET in a real university laboratory, and it didn't just match it. It beat it badly. Stick with me, because that test is the turning point of this whole story. Here is where it changes. The compound I'm describing does not work the way any of those products work. It does not mask your scent for 3 feet. It does not poison the leaves. It does something to the mosquito herself. It reaches into the chemical receptors on her antennae and it floods them. The compound is called Nepetalactone, and the plant that makes it is catnip, Nepetalactone, the same herb your cat rolls around in and loses its mind over. The thing that turns a house cat into a clown is, to a mosquito, the closest thing in nature to a weapon. Here's the science of why it works so completely. Remember those receptor cells on her antennae, the ones tuned to pick up carbon dioxide and lactic acid and the heat coming off your body? Nepetalactone binds directly to the olfactory binding proteins, the OBP1 receptors on her antennae, and overstimulates them all at once. Recent research has confirmed this is the precise molecular target. It is sensory overload. Her chemical navigation system fills up with false signals and simply stops giving her usable information. She can no longer find the carbon dioxide. She can no longer track the lactic acid. She can no longer orient toward your warmth. She is, in the most literal sense, flying blind, lost inside a chemical fog she cannot see through. And a mosquito's instinct when that happens is to get out of the area entirely. This is not a folk remedy or a guess. Researcher Joel Coates and his team at Iowa State University put Nepetalactone up against DEET under controlled laboratory conditions, testing it specifically on Aedes aegypti, the yellow fever mosquito, and the same concentration of each. The catnip compound repelled mosquitoes at a rate roughly 10 times higher than DEET. The motivation behind that research was West Nile virus. The disease was spreading, and the team wanted to find something safer than synthetic chemicals to protect people from the mosquitoes that carry it. That work was serious enough to be published in a respected scientific journal, and for about a week, it made the news. Then the news cycle moved on. The bug spray industry went right back to selling the same $12 can, and most Americans never heard the word catnip connected to a mosquito again. You cannot patent a plant. You cannot build an $11 billion industry around something that grows back in the ditch every spring. There is your reason. Now here is exactly what to buy and exactly how to use it, because the science only matters if you can put it to work tonight. The product you want is catnip essential oil, not the dried herb in the cat toy aisle, not a live plant yet. The essential oil. You'll find it in the essential oil section or the natural health aisle, and it runs around $3 a bottle. The brand barely matters. What matters is that the label says pure catnip oil with Nepetalactone as the active compound. Read the label before you pay. The first way to use it is a yard and air spray. In a clean spray bottle, mix about 20 drops of catnip oil with 2 cups of water and 1 teaspoon of plain dish soap. The dish soap is not optional, and here's why. Oil and water do not mix, so without it the oil just floats on top and you spray uneven, useless mist. The soap is an emulsifier. It breaks the oil into tiny droplets and holds them suspended evenly through the water. Shake it hard before every use. Then walk your space and lay down a boundary. Spray along the fence line, around the legs and rail of the deck, across the base of your shrubs, and along the openings where the yard meets the patio. The compound disperses into the air there and creates a line the mosquitoes will not cross. One application holds for about 2 to 3 hours outdoors, and after rain you redo it. Keep the bottle beside your chair and give the air around you a light mist every couple of hours. And you've put yourself inside a moving pocket of that chemical fog. The second way is on your skin, and this one outperforms the spray can directly. But you never put essential oil on bare skin straight from the bottle, because undiluted it can irritate. You cut it first. 10 drops of catnip oil into 1 tablespoon of a carrier oil. Coconut oil is perfect, and a jar costs about $6 at any grocery store. Mix the two in a small container and rub it on the places she goes for first: your wrists, your ankles, the back of your neck, behind your ears. Those are her landing zones because the skin is thin there and the blood is close to the surface. To you, the smell is mild, faintly herbal, gone in a few minutes. To her, you have just turned yourself into a walking siren that scrambles every sensor she owns. And there's a third use most people never think of. Plant the catnip itself. A few plants along the edge of the patio or in pots beside the door give off the compound on warm evenings and keep a living buffer going all season for the price of a couple of seed packets. Keep them trimmed, because a little crushing of the leaves releases more of the oil, and brush your hand across them when you sit down. One word of fairness: if you have outdoor cats, they will find it. So put the plants where you don't mind a cat rolling in them. And here's a free one the spray companies will never print on a label. A mosquito is a weak, slow flyer. Set an ordinary box fan on your porch and point it across where you sit, and she physically cannot fight that breeze to land on you. The American Mosquito Control Association actually recommends moving air as a practical barrier. The airflow does something even better than just blocking her physically. It scatters the carbon dioxide plume she's tracking, so she can't even find you in the first place. A $20 fan you already own beats the citronella candle and the bug zapper put together. Pair that with light, loose, long sleeves at dawn and at dusk, the 2 windows when she hunts hardest, and you've stacked 4 cheap layers that cost almost nothing. And while we're saving your money, skip the ultrasonic gadgets, the plugins, and the phone apps that claim to drive mosquitoes off with sound. The EPA and the FTC have both called these out, and independent testing again and again confirms they do nothing at all. There is no sound that repels a mosquito. Don't buy them. Now here's the step that takes this from a good night to a solved problem, and it's the one almost everybody skips. Repelling the adults keeps them off you tonight, but the mosquitoes biting you tonight were born within about 200 feet of where you are sitting, and unless you deal with that, you are fighting a population that replaces itself faster than you can repel it. Here is the number that should change how you see your own yard. A single female lays as many as 300 eggs at a time, and she does it in water no deeper than a bottle cap. In hot weather, that egg is a flying, biting adult in as little as 5 days. You could spray catnip every evening for the rest of the summer, and if there's active standing water on your property, you'll be losing ground the whole time. The most common culprit species in North American backyards, Culex pipiens, the common house mosquito, can complete that entire life cycle in a single week. So, walk your property right now in daylight and hunt the water, the saucer under the potted plant on the porch, the bird bath you haven't changed in a week, the dip in the tarp over the woodpile holding last week's rain, the clogged gutter you meant to clear in spring, the dog bowl that's been out for 4 days, the bottom of the recycling bin that never quite drains, the kid's wading pool, the wheelbarrow, the old tires, the corrugated downspout extension with a low spot in it. Every one of those is a hatchery running around the clock. Dump everything you can dump, and don't just dump it, scrub the inside, because the eggs of some species stick to the walls above the waterline and can survive bone dry for months, waiting for the next rain to float them off. Dumping leaves the eggs, scrubbing ends them, and don't overlook the easiest doorway of all, the torn window screen and the gap under the door. The cheapest mosquito control in the house is the screen you already own. Patch the holes with a few dollars of screen repair tape and add a sweep along the bottom of the door, and you shut out the ones that would otherwise hunt you in your sleep, where no spray and no candle can help you. For the water you can't drain, a rain barrel, a decorative pond, a low corner of the yard that floods after every storm, you use one product. And it's the most important one in this whole video. Mosquito Dunks. The brand most hardware stores carry is Summit. They're small tablets shaped like a little donut about 1.5 inches across. You drop one into the standing water and it slowly releases a naturally occurring soil bacterium called BTI, Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. The mosquito larvae, whether Culex pipiens or Aedes aegypti, feed on it and die within about a day. One dunk treats 100 square feet of water surface for 30 days, and it is completely harmless to fish, frogs, birds, dogs, and children. A pack of 6 runs about $9. This is how you turn off the factory. Put the two halves together and look at what you've built. The catnip keeps the adults off you and out of your air. The dunks and the scrubbing end the next generation at the source before it ever takes flight. That is a 2-layer system, and the whole thing costs under $15 and outperforms a $400 seasonal spray contract that only ever attacked half the problem. Let me lay the two worlds side by side, because the contrast is the point. The mosquito control market in this country is an $11 billion business built on a product that lasts 5 days, needs a season-long contract to keep limping along, and spreads synthetic chemicals over every plant in a yard where your family lives. Against that stands a $3 bottle of catnip oil that Iowa State University researcher Joel Coates found to be roughly 10 times more effective than the chemical in their flagship can, plus $9 of larvae control that's safe enough to use in a fish pond. The study came out. The industry kept selling the spray, and the word never reached you, until now. So here's what I want you to do. Go look at the comments and tell me what you've tried before that never worked. The candle, the zapper, the $400 contract, all of it. I read every one, and it tells me what to dig into next. And if this saved you a summer of bites and a stack of money, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, because there's a whole shelf of these $2 answers the people selling the $12 version would rather you never found. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.